The reservation. By the time Lena Reed saw the Stanley Hotel for the first time, the sun was already slipping behind the saw-toothed ridges of the Rocky Mountains, turning the sky a bruised purple. The hotel didn't look haunted at all. It rose above the pines in crisp white, its red roof glowing faintly against the darkening clouds. Strings of warm lights lined the long porch, and guests in jackets and beanies drifted in and out of the grand front doors, laughing, taking photos, living the kind of ordinary evening Lena never quite trusted. "This is it," her friend Mia said from the driver's seat, pulling the car into the circular drive. "The famous Stanley Hotel. Inspiration for The Shining. Creepy as hell. You're welcome." Lena forced a smile.
Yeah.
"Perfect place for a birthday trip." "Come on. You literally begged me to book this," Mia said, shoving the gear into park. "Real haunted history, overnight investigation package, and you get to pretend you're not still a true crime addict. This is peak Lena." That part was true. Lena ran a small but growing YouTube channel where she mixed true crime with ghost stories, picking apart local legends and late-night security footage. When she'd found out the Stanley Hotel offered official, spirited rooms and guided paranormal tours through the same hallways that had inspired Stephen King, she'd wired the deposit in under 5 minutes. But now that she was actually here, with the mountains crowding around them and a wind that felt colder than the temperature should allow, something about the place pressed down on her chest. She grabbed her backpack and stepped out of the car. The air smelled like pine needles, old wood, and faintly something else like a room shut too long. For a moment, she just stared up at the building. The Stanley Hotel had opened in 1909, a luxury escape for wealthy Easterners brought here by F.O. Stanley, the inventor who'd built steam-powered cars strong enough to survive the mountain roads. That part she knew from her research. She also knew the hotel had never quite shaken loose the strange stories that clung to it. Phantom children playing down the hallways, a woman in old-fashioned housekeeping clothes rearranging guests' luggage, the laughter of long-dead partygoers still echoing from the ballroom at night. And then there was room 217. Earth to Lena. Mia snapped her fingers in front of her face. "Check-in time. Your haunted princess suite awaits." Inside, the lobby was almost disarmingly beautiful. Polished wood floors, chandeliers casting warm light over ornate furniture, framed black and white photos of the hotel's early days hanging in neat rows. Near the fireplace, a couple posed for a selfie with a cardboard cutout of Stephen King. Mia leaned in. "You should do a thumbnail like that. I survived the real Shining Hotel." "Assuming I survive," Lena muttered. They approached the front desk. The woman behind it wore a navy vest and a polite, practiced smile, the kind that suggested she'd heard every ghost joke in existence. "Welcome to the Stanley," she said. "Checking in?"
Yes.
"Reservation under Reed. 2 nights." Lena paused. "And we, requested a spirited room." The clerk's smile tilted just slightly. "Of course. We have you in room 217. Mia elbowed Lena hard in the ribs. "The room. The Stephen King room. You're actually serious?" Lena's stomach fluttered. She knew the story. In 1911, a housekeeper named Elizabeth Wilson had been injured in a gas explosion in room 217. Some guests claimed she still checked in on them, unpacked their suitcases, folded their clothes. Others reported someone sitting on the bed when no one was there, or the feeling of being tucked in at night by unseen hands. "Is it, actually active?" Lena asked. The clerk's eyes flicked up, just for a second, as if she were considering how much to say. "Some guests have had interesting experiences there," she replied carefully. "Lights turning on and off, belongings moved, doors that don't like to stay closed. Nothing harmful." "Nothing harmful," Mia repeated under her breath. "Totally reassuring when we're sleeping there." The clerk slid 2 old-fashioned brass keys across the polished wood. "Elevator is to your left. Paranormal tour meets at 8 in the music room if you're joining tonight."
She paused.
"One more thing. If you experience anything unusual, we ask that you be respectful. Many of our guests believe the spirits here are former staff and patrons." "Yeah," Lena said softly. "People who never checked out." As they made their way to the elevator, Mia whispered, "That line was good. Use it in your video." Lena pressed the button, but her mind was already jumping ahead. She imagined the camera angles, the intro hook, the overlay of historic photos. Built in 1909. Inspired The Shining. Haunted by the past. The elevator door slid open with a chiming ding, revealing a narrow, mirrored interior that looked older than it probably was. They stepped inside. "7th floor," Mia said. "Top floor, creepiest vibe. I googled it. You're welcome again." As the elevator climbed, Lena watched her own reflection in the mirror. Her face looked pale under the soft yellow lights, eyes tired from the drive. Behind her reflection, the mirrored walls shimmered slightly. For a heartbeat, she thought she saw another shape standing in the back corner.
Tall.
Faded, wearing something long and old-fashioned. Then the elevator jolted, the lights flickered, and the shape was gone. Mia didn't seem to notice. "Okay, look, no matter what happens tonight, even if literally nothing shows up, we sell it on atmosphere. The Stanley is enough." A small, cold pressure pressed against the back of Lena's neck, like fingers testing her pulse. She swallowed, forcing a smile.
"Yeah."
Atmosphere. The elevator door slid open onto a long, carpeted hallway stretching in both directions. Soft, golden lamps lined the walls. At the far end, a window looked out into the dark, where the mountains had turned into solid black shapes. A brass number glinted from a door slightly off-center. 217. For a second, Lena felt the insane urge to ask for a different room. Any room. Then Mia grabbed her wrist. "Ready, final girl?" she grinned. "Let's meet whoever didn't check out." Lena slid the key into the lock of room 217. The door opened on its own.
Slowly.
Like something inside had been waiting. The room looked perfectly normal. Warm lamps. Polished hardwood floors. A floral bedspread folded neatly at the corners. Antique furniture. Heavy curtains framing a window that overlooked the mountains. Nothing about it suggested that this was the most requested and most feared room in the entire Stanley Hotel. But the air felt wrong.
Too still.
Too cold. Like the silence after someone exhales but never breathes back in. Mia pushed past Lena and announced, "Okay, ghost hunting suite unlocked. Let's set up your cameras." Lena didn't move. She lingered in the doorway, fingers gripping the brass handle. Something inside her whispered not to step forward. Not yet, because the room felt occupied. Mia tossed her backpack on the bed, then laughed. "Oh," the bed creaked. "She's welcoming us." She meant Elizabeth Wilson, the housekeeper injured in a 1911 gas explosion that destroyed most of the room. Wilson survived, returned to work, and, according to countless reports, still checked on guests today. Doors opening on their own, lights flickering, suitcases unpacked when no one was in the room. Lena forced herself across the threshold. "Okay," she murmured. "Camera placement. Let's do one near the bed, one pointed at the door, one facing the closet." The words helped anchor her. They were familiar. This was what she did, how she turned fear into content. She set up her tripod and checked her mic levels, focusing on the glow of the LED screen instead of the feeling creeping up her back. But the room didn't like being ignored. It started with a gentle click. A small, soft sound from the far wall. Lena turned. The closet door had opened an inch. Mia noticed instantly. "Oh, hell no. That was closed." "It's an old building," Lena said automatically. "Air pressure. Drafts." But she said it too quickly. Mia raised a brow. "You don't believe that." Before Lena could respond, her phone buzzed in her pocket. She checked it. "Paranormal tour starts in 10 minutes. Meet in music room."
"We should go," she said.
"I want to get some footage of the tour." They gathered their coats. Lena gave the room one last look before turning off the lights. That's when she saw it. On the bed, folded into a perfect square, sat one of her shirts. She hadn't unpacked anything yet. Her breath hitched. "Did you?" Mia shook her head. "Nope." Lena walked toward the bed slowly. Her fingers hovered above the folded shirt. It wasn't just neatly arranged, it was perfectly ironed. Crisp. Pressed flat as if done by an expert hand. Elizabeth Wilson was known for that. Lovingly folding clothes, tucking sheets, straightening rooms, keeping order in the chaos of the afterlife. A sudden cold breeze swept across Lena's neck, lifting the hairs on her arms. She spun around. The window was still locked. "Let's go," she whispered. They hurried into the hallway, closing the door behind them. The latch clicked like a polite goodbye. The music room was one of the hotel's oldest spaces, carved wood, ornate columns, and a glossy grand piano said to be haunted by Flora Stanley, wife of the hotel's founder. Guests claimed the piano sometimes played by itself. Lena and Mia slipped into the back of the small group as the tour guide, a tall woman with silver hair and a voice smooth as honey, began her introduction. "The Stanley Hotel is not just haunted," she said. "It's layered. History sits on top of tragedy. Tragedy sits on top of memory. And memory doesn't always stay still." She led them down hallways lined with old photographs, F.O. Stanley's first cars, early hotel staff, the ballroom in the 1920s. The deeper they went, the heavier the air felt. When they reached the music room, Lena felt her chest tighten. There it was, the famous piano, black lacquered, massive, gleaming under the chandelier. As the group gathered, the tour guide lowered her voice. "Flora Stanley loved this room. Guests have reported hearing a single note played when the room is empty, or feeling someone brush past them near the keys." Mia nudged Lena. "Get your camera on that." Lena lifted her phone, zooming in on the piano keys. The tour guide continued. "It said Flora dislikes when guests lean on her piano or set things on top of it. If they do..."
Ping.
The sound echoed through the room like a drop of water hitting glass. A single piano key had been pressed. Everyone froze. Did someone hit that?" someone whispered. "No one touched it," the guide said calmly. "She's just saying hello." Lena swallowed. Her phone trembled in her hand. "Moving on," the guide said. "The rooms upstairs are where things get more personal." As the group followed her toward the staircase, Lena glanced back at the piano. This time she saw it clearly. A reflection in the shiny black surface. A woman standing where no one stood. Hair pinned up, dress old-fashioned, hands folded politely. Watching. Then she blinked, and the reflection was gone. Mia whispered, "Are you getting this? This is insane." Lena didn't answer, because something heavy and cold pressed against her shoulder, as if someone invisible had placed a hand there, guiding her, or warning her. And Lena understood something she hadn't before. Room 217 wasn't the only room awake tonight. By the time the tour ended, Lena's nerves felt stretched thin, like threads about to snap. Every hallway seemed too narrow, every shadow too sharp. And the cold hand she'd felt on her shoulder still lingered like a bruise in the shape of fingertips.
"We need air," Mia said.
"Let's grab snacks, then head back." "No," Lena said sharply. "Not yet." She wasn't afraid of the hotel anymore. Not exactly. It was more like the hotel was waiting for her, watching her, as if choosing the right moment to reveal something she wasn't sure she wanted to see. They reached the staircase that led back to the 7th floor. The hallway stretched long and quiet, lamps casting small pools of golden light across the patterned carpet. Room numbers glinted from doors. Soft music drifted faintly from downstairs, as if the hotel were humming to itself. Mia glanced at her. "You okay?" Lena didn't answer. Her eyes were fixed on the door halfway down the hall. 217. Their door. Only, it wasn't closed anymore. It stood half open. A dark slit in the quiet corridor. "I locked it," Lena whispered. "I swear I locked it. Maybe housekeeping came back?" At 11 at night? Mia swallowed. Maybe someone broke in. The thought didn't comfort either of them. Lena approached the door slowly. Each step seemed to push the hallway farther away, like she was walking into a tunnel made of silence. She pushed the door open. The room was dark, except for one lamp. The lamp by the bed, turned on, its warm light falling over the bedspread. The bedspread no one had touched since they'd left. Mia whispered, "Lena, But Lena stepped forward, her breaths ragged, camera still in her hand. Because the bedspread wasn't just smoothed out. It was folded. Tightly. Neatly. Like hospital corners. Like someone trained to prepare rooms had done it. Elizabeth Wilson. Then she saw the dresser. Her suitcase had been unpacked. Every shirt folded. Every pair of jeans stacked perfectly straight. Her toiletries arranged in a perfect line, as if on display. Mia stepped backward.
No. Nope.
No, this is too much. But Lena walked forward, drawn like a moth to a flame she couldn't escape. She moved until she stood before the closet, the same closet that had opened on its own hours earlier. It was open again. Inside, something hung from the wooden hanger. At first, Lena thought it was one of her shirts. It wasn't. It was a crisp, old-fashioned housekeeping uniform. White apron. Starched collar. The kind of uniform worn by staff in the early 1900s.
Okay. Lena, I'm not joking, Mia said.
We need to leave. Right now. Lena lifted her camera with shaky hands. She's trying to tell us something. It's not a she, Mia snapped. It's something we don't understand. Lena stepped closer to the closet. A cold blast burst out from the dark inside, washing over her. She gasped, stumbling back. And then, the lamp flickered.
Once. Twice.
Then stayed lit. A figure now stood beside the bed.
Faint.
Translucent. A woman in early 1900s clothing. Hair pinned up neatly. Eyes soft, but sad. Her posture prim and proper, like she was still on duty. Elizabeth Wilson. Her outline shimmered like heat waves on asphalt. Her hands moved in small, precise gestures, as if adjusting invisible sheets, smoothing invisible fabric. Mia screamed, but the sound came out as a choked whisper. Lena, run. But Lena didn't run. The apparition's face wasn't angry. It wasn't threatening. It looked worried. Then the room changed. A sudden pressure filled the air, as if the hotel itself inhaled sharply. A deep vibration hummed through the floorboards. And the lights died. Total darkness. Mia's breathing turned frantic. Lena, where are you, Lena? From the darkness came a soft sound. A piano note. The same single note they'd heard earlier in the music room. Then another.
And another. Slow. Steady.
Intentional. A warning. The Stanley Hotel was speaking. The darkness around them seemed to shift, as if something unseen moved across the carpet. A colder, heavier presence than the woman. Something older. Something darker. Something that did not want them there. The air grew sharp with a metallic scent, like old iron. Lena grabbed Mia's wrist. We're leaving.
Now. They ran.
Into the hallway. Down the stairs. Past startled guests. Past the music room, where the piano played a final lonely chord. They didn't stop until they burst out onto the front porch, breathless in the cold mountain air. And yet, Lena turned back. In one of the upper windows, room 217, a faint figure stood behind the curtain. The shape of a woman, watching them leave. Not angry, not malicious, just tired, and forever on duty. Mia tugged her hand. Come on, please. Lena nodded. But as they walked toward the car, Lena felt something in her pocket. She reached inside. A folded piece of fabric. Crisp. Starched. The corner of an old housekeeping apron. And it smelled faintly, like lavender and antique linen. Elizabeth's scent. The Stanley Hotel had let them leave. But it wasn't done with Lena. Not yet.